I'm a high school teacher. I've been teaching for 15 years, absolutely love it. But I'm also an immigrant. I was born in Vietnam. I came here in 1975. And my mother learned English by working at McDonald's and watching Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. So I've lived in Austin for a really long time, and I love it here. It's always been for me a diverse city, a creative city, a working class city, and it's not exactly like that anymore.
Okay, so you teach school,
Mm-hmm.
and something pops into your mind. Hey, I should run for council. I guess. I mean, what was it?
Well, you know what it is like it's been a very crazy political climate, and we're all on Facebook, or at least the old people are. And, you know, we're all Facebook activists. And at some point, you know, you want to not just be on the computer and typing away your opinions. You actually want to make change happen. And the city council, for me, is the easiest way to get into it. I've taught local government for a really long time. I believe that I understand the workings of government. And I've been giving back to my community. So I think I wanted to give back locally to Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just list a whole bunch of issues.
Okay.
And you pick one or pick your own.
Okay.
You know, they've done Code Next, the failure of Code Next, paid sick leave, ban the box, the soccer stadium was a big topic. Gentrification is a topic
Mm-hmm.
on the east side. In your district is the arch. There's the arch. Some
Mm-hmm.
people want to know, or some people want to move the arch, and some people want to just fix it where it is. Any of those topics you want to talk about, or you can talk about your own?
Yeah, no, all of those topics are of interest to me. The reason why I'm running is for affordability, but also accountability. And I would love to stop giving subsidies to corporations. I believe that if we were to maybe like focus on our local businesses and maybe gave them some tax incentives instead of like Samsung and Precourt Soccer and you know, Apple and all of these other huge corporations, $400-500 million in subsidies. If we were to take that money and help our local businesses, I think that would be so much more worthwhile. We talk about keeping it weird and unique in Austin, and what better way to keep it weird and unique by supporting our local businesses. We don't do enough for them. And in fact, a lot of people are leaving. And in the statesman, there's always a story about, well, this business is now closing. This iconic, you know, uncommon objects on, you know, South Congress had to leave. And that's not supporting the business that I want here in Austin.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about all of it.
The arch,
No, okay, so I will definitely talk about, let's talk about Code Next.
okay.
Everyone's talking about Code Next. It was such a divisive issue, and I think that it got so ugly because you had two groups, the preservationists and the urbanists. And then you had the rest of Austin who never even cared or did, you know, about these two groups. But these two groups were at the table and bickering and fighting each other, and each group called the other racist. And these are two white groups. The preservationists called the urbanist gentrifiers, and the urbanists were calling the preservationist NIMBYs. You know, that's not the way to come to the table and talk about land use code, right? But we do need to make room for the people who are coming in here. The problem with Code Next is the promise of affordability, which it cannot be affordable because Code Next is a market-driven plan in a market-driven state. If you want to make things affordable in Austin, you have to give people an option to create roots in Austin. And so I believe in a lease-to-purchase program where people can earn equity on their rent after 15 years and then use that equity to buy a home. That's how you build a community, when you allow people who have lived here a long, long time to purchase a home. But to sell Code Next as a thing that's going to bring affordability to Austin, I don't think I think it's disingenuous. I think we need to be honest about why we need to create and change the land codes. But I don't think you need to package it up and sell it as something that it cannot do. As far as the arch and the homeless situation, we have like a huge affordability issue, and as that grows, so will the homeless population. I think the city depended upon our nonprofits to do all the work. Arch and Echo are overwhelmed, and the city needs to do more to help them. And one way we can help them is by providing a Housing First initiative. And I know to a lot of people who are like, oh my God, that's just gonna raise my taxes, but it's actually cheaper to do something than it is to do nothing. It's about $40,000 to $60,000 per homeless person if we did nothing because of the emergency room, the jail to shelter pipeline. A ticket for a homeless person is like $140 to $200. An emergency room visit is in the thousands of dollars. An ambulance is, $800, $900, not $1,000. So I think that if we were to provide housing for services and to give mental health services and financial education, you would see people get back their dignity. And there's proof in the pudding because Loaves and Fishes have done that. They bought 27 acres, not too close, not too far away, but not in anybody's neighborhood, which is unfortunate because people don't want this sort of program in their neighborhood. But if they were to go visit, I think they would be surprised and they would welcome a Housing First initiative that's closer to Austin, to the core of Austin. I also believe in protecting our musicians and our creative class. I was just at a forum yesterday, and they bring so much to the city, $2 billion in income. People come to this city for the music. And in fact, when I left the music forum, I heard somebody say, "Where's the music at?" People come to this town to see live music, but we don't pay our musicians anything. So I'd like to propose that we find affordable housing for our musicians. Back to the lease to purchase program, where maybe you can have a musicians colony, a place where musicians can create and live, and then earn equity on the rent so that they can buy something down the line that's more permanent. I think that for our local businesses, how we can, and keeping our working class in, we should incentivize landlords to give longer leases. We need to stabilize our rent. And it's not rent control, it's rent stabilization. And so if we can incentivize our landlords to give longer leases, like 5-year, 7-year leases, I think a lot of our businesses can actually stay in Austin. I don't think it's fair for a business to have to pay 30% more when they're not getting 30% of that, the profit. I know we can't cap rent increases because of the state of Texas, but then maybe we should lobby the state of Texas a little bit. Maybe we should make friends with our Republicans, because every progressive ordinance that Austin passes, the state slaps down. So we need to get more involved with our Republicans at the state level, and we need to each stop thumping our chest to see who actually won the fight, because at that level they're always going to win. So we need to find a way to work together.
That goes for a lot of different things. So that goes for a lot of different
Yeah,
issues
absolutely.
that they do. Paid sick leave, the state may come in and reverse it all. So
Yeah.
you feel like we need to work with them from the beginning?
They won't even let us have our bag ban, So it's the little things, and these are ideological battles that we're facing with the state, And so I understand when council members say, "Hey, we got to fight," and I agree with that. But at some point, we got to work together. Otherwise, we're not going to get anything. They're going to, like I said, they've got control of the courts. They've got control of the state. We might want to kind of, understand who's above us and use language that will bring people to the table. I also believe in accountability, and I think that Austin is such a giving city, and we pass bond after bond. But when the city does not carefully look at where the money is going, if we don't look and follow the money to see where it's actually landing, to make sure that it's going to its intended purpose, then what are we doing? We're not doing anything. All we are doing is putting money into somebody else's pocket who already has a lot of money. We're not doing anything for the citizens. So we need to make sure that our money is actually going to its intended purpose. One more issue that I care about a lot is the lead issue. The paper reported, KUT reported, that lead was found in 9 different Austin area schools, and to do nothing is foolish. And when I talk to other politicians who are running, they say, "Oh, that's a state issue. That's a district issue." That's an everyone's issue, And it's not just from the pipe structure. It's not just from our aging infrastructure. It's also from the demolitions that we're doing, and we're not being careful. If you go up to the Northeast, they practice wet demolitions. They practice Baltimore-style demolitions. And basically what that does is stops the spread of dust particles. If we do a dry demolition, those dust particles travel 600 feet radius. But if you do a Baltimore-style demolition, the dust travels at 65 feet radius. I mean, that's a huge difference. And the dust particles are much more dangerous than what you find in the aging pipeline. So, you know, if we care about our people, let's go ahead and take the time and make sure and put it in city ordinance that if you're going to demolish a home that's older than 1978, that you do it the right way. Because it's cheaper, again, to do it right the first time than to wait and see what happens later.